The Dummy is Deltarune Chapter 1's tutorial fight, and like Ralsei, also technically has 3 different designs. The first, default design, is the one the player battles with, and it's a spitting image of Chapter 1 Ralsei, albeit a bit flatter. Notice how it's outlined in white instead of dark green to portray said flatness. If you remember, the reason it looks like Ralsei and not blank like the dummies of Undertale is because Ralsei, as the Lonely Prince, didn't have any other image to base it on.
Cotton heart and button eye. Looks just like a fluffy guy.
But I find Ralsei's explanation curious in the context of his design from Chapter 2 onward, because when an Addison takes the clothes off of the dummy, its naked form is the same shadowy black as Chapter 1 Ralsei. Basically, the properties of the dummy don't match with the properties of Ralsei's body. The rule is that when Ralsei takes off his hat, his body inexplicably goes from being ink black fur to white fluffiness. Does Ralsei's personal hat hold special magical properties that the dummy's hat doesn't have? Actually, this entire part at the end of Chapter 1 gives me so many questions when I think about it, because the motion here implies that Ralsei had his sleeves over his hands the entire journey, but that doesn't explain his legs. Was Ralsei wearing black boots in Chapter 1? But that doesn't explain his face. Again, that hat is probably magic. Actually, now that I look at it, Ralsei's sleeves were green the entirety of Chapter 1, and in this cutscene, they're black. What's up with that? Is Ralsei a shapeshifter of some kind? Does his struggle with identity extend to his physical appearance too? Is this something that he does consciously? I'm throwing out ideas here. Anyways, in Chapter 4, the dummy is dressed up like this. With the long nose, rosy cheeks, and $sign necklace, I think the Addison's misspammed it dearly. But also, Ralsei informs us that he had nothing to do with this design, and honestly, I don't want anything to do with it either, so let's end the video now. And how come you can levitate? Where did that come from?